with Oli and Martin from the Edinburgh-based band RIAAL Spirits. I'm very pleased to meet you two. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, well, I'm not too bad, thanks. You've been enjoying the sunny weather today. How has it been in Scotland?
It's been great today, actually. Yeah, been out with the kids and that, so it's been a nice day.
Very good. Now, let's talk about your band. So there's the four of you in the band. There's yourselves and Fuzz and Dave. Fuzz, great name for a lead guitarist, I must say.
Sure is.
And Dave, the drummer.
Of course. Good solid drummer name.
Yeah, it really is. And it's also a good name for a dog, I think. Golden Retriever, imagine called Dave. Anyway, now you formed back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, a long time ago.
A while ago now.
Yeah, so me and the original members of the band, well, two of the other original members of the band played in a band previously. That band split up and we started RIAAL Spirit. And then Martin joined, 2016 you joined? And then Fuzz joined 2019. Yeah.
So Martin, you're the bassist. So aside from lineup changes and releasing various things, what have you been doing recently? Because I know there's something very special you've got to tell us about. So why don't you go ahead?
This Friday, which is probably going to be after this comes out now, isn't it? So Friday the 13th of May, we're releasing part one.
Friday the 13th. That is the best day for a metal band to be releasing.
Of course it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's Elements 1. That's the first half of our new album. So that's dropping, Friday 13th of May.
So it's an album in two parts rather than a double album. And
yeah.
Right.
So there's six tracks on this one, and then there'll be 6 tracks on the next one. We thought about doing 3 EPs, 3 4-track EPs, and then we thought, no, let's do 2 halves of an album.
Okay. And you don't have a date yet, do you, for the second half to be released?
We don't have all the songs for it yet.
I'm going to ask if that's written yet. So it's not actually, right, it's under construction then.
It sure is, yeah.
And you've released several tracks already from Elements 1, haven't you? So you had Zion was the first one and 2 other videos. So Free the Fallen. So that one was released on the 18th of February. So is that the most recent release?
No, so there was Underneath, which was in December, and then Fever Dream, which was the 4th one, which was just about a month ago now, start of April.
Okay, well, what can you tell us about Elements? I mean, how does it differ, say, from your debut album? So that was Carnival Carnivorous. I think if you'd written that any more recently, you could have called it Carnival Coronavirus.
We sure could.
Something of that nature. So how does it sort of differ then, or is it the same? Are you on the same sort of journey with this album?
No, I think now. I mean, Ollie could probably tell you better because I wasn't involved in Carnival Carnivorous, but I think now we know who RIAAL Spirit are with a settled lineup, and I think Elements shows that the way that the tracks are written, the way that they're put together, the way that the performance is. There's so many layers to them. It's different. Now, I was always a fan of Carnival Carnivorous because I played in a band in the Edinburgh scene. I knew the guys. That's how I got involved with them. But this is, I'm obviously going to say this as a newer member, but this is bigger. This feels like RIAAL Spirit are settled now. It feels like we're ready to go a step further now. In terms of Carnival Carnivorous itself, it's still a fantastic album, which we should never be distanced from. But it was only Ollie and Dave really that were involved in that.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost a different band now compared to then. The first album, Carnival Carnivorous, was me and the original guitarist that wrote all the songs. I sang all the songs. You know, it was a different band then. You know, when Fuzz joined 2019, we had some songs ready to go, so we got him straight into the studio. We recorded the Antidote EP pretty much straight away. But that had Martin singing on it for the first time. There was one track there, Martin singing. But now on Elements, there's 3 of us singing. So Martin takes lead vocals on a couple of tracks. Fuzz sings for the first time. So the last one that we just released, Fever Dream, that's him singing for the first time. So we've actually got 3-part harmonies on there for the first time. And Yeah, I mean, it's definitely taken us to a new level for sure. Yeah, I think we've just built, the Antidote built on Carnival Carnivorous, and then Elements is definitely built on what we did with the Antidote.
And I'm going to say, it's been getting great reviews, particularly in this month's ERB magazine.
Yep.
So we got a 5-star review from them, and they described it as a fusion of talents that was too metal for rock, too rock for grunge, and too grunge for metal, which is very true. So if you listen to music, it is. It's a kind of dirgy, grungy, hard rocky.
Well, this is it, yeah.
But you know what I really like about your songs is you can actually hear the lyrics really clearly, crystal clear. Yeah, sometimes even some of my favorite bands I'll be listening to, years will go by without me actually knowing what some of the words are to the songs. I'll be kind of singing along or at gigs, kind of just making up my own words or thinking I'm hearing something that I'm not. And then years later I find, so that's what they were saying. That's not going to happen with you though, because you know what you're saying.
There's whole websites of like misheard lyrics in there out there, so hopefully there's not any of ours there.
Yeah, I still get shocked when I find out the real lyrics to the songs I thought I knew.
Definitely.
But I really like that, and that's quite rare in a band that would describe themselves as metal, certainly on the harder edge of the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, we can thank our producer Brian Ramage for that. He put us through our paces. He really does. And that's one of his things when he's recording vocals. If he can't understand the diction in the word, then he's like, do it again.
I like
not
that.
good enough.
Good. Yes.
Not good enough.
Good for him.
He really wants you to enunciate, and he's hard on us with it, but it makes us better, and it brings the record out and stuff. So I'm glad he operates that way. I'm glad he pushes us. Yeah. Because we end up happier with the product at the end anyway. So
exactly. Yeah. Now you've got your own label, so it's Disposable Noise Records. So when was that started? And are there any other bands on your label, or is it simply for distributing your own material?
It's just for us. So we set it up for Carnival Carnivorous. We were looking at different ways of distributing, and we just thought let's put that extra, like, no pun intended, element into things and like have our own label. It's an extra sort of weight behind you. So yeah, I run the label. I do all like that kind of thing. So we don't have any bands yet. I would like to sign a few other bands. That was kind of my thinking when we started. Let's have 3 or 4 other Edinburgh bands on the label, go out on a Disposable Noise tour, that kind of thing. It's not happened yet, but potentially for the future, we could do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know 1 or 2 other bands that have done pretty much exactly the same as you in having their own label. Because I mean, a lot of the time they've been asked by people, are you signed to a label? And with all the difficulties of that, they thought, well, we're just going to, we'll create our own, just do it ourselves. I think if you can do it yourself, it's better.
Well, this is it. I think DIY is almost the way of doing things nowadays. Maybe not yourself, but like together. Okay, we've got management, so they do certain things. Like Martin tends to look after the booking side of things. I do the label. Dave does the merch and that kind of stuff, the website. But yeah, like you retain control of what you're doing. There's no one there telling you, you know what, I don't like that song, write a 3.5-minute pop song so we can play it on MTV or whatever kids are listening to these days.
Yeah, you've got more freedom that way, and you're also a Forge amp band, it's worth noting, so they've got quite an impressive roster. John's busy working. You're in fact going to be playing Forge Festival. So what's
Forge Head Festival? Yeah, I'm going home almost. I'm going 22 miles from where I grew up, South Wales. Yeah, Forge Head Festival, and we're playing breaking bands.
How excited he is, by the way. He's been bouncing about all over the place. He's proper excited about going back to Wales. It's annoying. You want to see him?
I can't wait. I can't. It's going to be amazing.
So you've got that on the 3rd of June. So it's the Forge Head Festival on the 3rd of June. The day before, you're playing Breaking Bands Festival as well. You're going to be knackered by the 3rd of June then.
Probably, yeah.
And you've got other things. You've got other festivals. So tell us about the other ones as well that I haven't mentioned.
Red Crust Festival in Edinburgh at the end of May. That's a big 3-day festival in Edinburgh across 3 venues. So Raging Speedhorn are like kind of headlining.
Right.
So that's like a few weeks time we're playing there. We've got another one later on in the year that we can't tell you about yet. And well,
is it a big one? The one later in the year?
We'll be getting on a ferry to go to it.
Oh.
Yeah. That's like 99% certain at the moment. So
I think where you could be going, Ireland. Speaking of festivals, so you reached semi-finals of Metal to the Masses.
So well, we did this. So we got to the semi-final 2017, but then in 2018 we won it. So we got through to the final and won in 2018.
Well done, you.
Well,
yeah, very well done.
Well, I think Martin should take over this one because it was a very special day for him.
Tell us about it, Martin.
The Metal to the Masses final day was a crazy day. My son was born at 2 o'clock in the morning that day. And I'm sitting in the hospital with my wife, and we're sitting thinking, there is no way I'm going to play this final today. That's the chance to play Bloodstock past that. But obviously, the kid comes first, and I was delighted to be a father. But the way that the hospital was, I wasn't being allowed to stay anyway. I was getting sent home. So, let's go play the gig. So we played the gig and we won. And it was a phenomenal day, to become a dad for the first time and then be told that you were playing Bloodstock later that summer as well. I don't actually remember much about it because I hadn't been to bed, I hadn't slept. And I went to the gig and I was just kind of wandering around in a haze. I've seen the photographs, but I don't really remember being on stage. And that's, normally if a musician says that, it's because they were wasted. I wasn't wasted, I just had to go to bed.
You were just sleep deprived, I'm guessing. And
the whole weekend was phenomenal. Just going to play a festival like Bloodstock was fantastic. We did rub shoulders with a couple of names, but no, didn't see Rob Halford, unfortunately. But
we did meet Doro Pesh.
We did. We met Doro Pesh.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she was great.
I saw her at a distance last year at Rocking the Bowl, but not to actually say hello to, which was a pity. But yeah.
No, we did. Yeah, we had a chat. So
obviously, what did you talk about?
Oh, I can't even remember now. So long ago. It was not long after we'd come off stage, so I think we were all kind of buzzing off, full of adrenaline after playing. So I'd love to tell you what we talked about, but it would be made up right now.
Well, we're winding Dave up though, because Dave was a massive fanboy, and remember the look on his face when we got a photo taken next to Doro Pesh. So I remember that. I'm the same as you. I can't remember what we spoke about, but I remember just winding him up because he was almost embarrassed. He was beetroot going up to get his photo taken with her.
Oh, it was proper fanboy moment for sure, wasn't it?
Did he blush?
Yes, he did.
Big time.
Yeah. So I want to know what's next for you. Will you be touring around the release of Elements 1 and 2? Are we going to get to see you soon?
We're trying our best to get as far south as possible. So we haven't played London for about 6 or 7 years now. So we've done a lot of playing in Scotland, a lot of playing in the north of England. So we're just going to try and push ourselves like as far south as we can. So I mean, getting down to breaking bands and doing Forge Ahead in South Wales, like that's the start of it. But yeah, we're going to try, like I said, get to London, get to Bristol, and anywhere else that we can that we haven't played for a long time or ever before.
Yeah, and there's a few one-day events coming up later on in the year as well that are like they're just in the stages of being announced, so we haven't officially told anyone what they are yet. But there are a few more of them coming up. A tour, ideally, yeah, I'd love that, but it's it's finding the right bill and the right venues, and it's all these difficulties. But yeah, hopefully, absolutely, hopefully.
Okay, and what are your long-term goals?
We need to get the second half of Elements out, I think. That's
more mid-term, I'd imagine, than long-term.
Yeah, I mean, everything we do is to try and go and play to start with to 300 people in every venue rather than 30, like we probably would if we just booked a gig in Nottingham, for example, right now. So yeah, we're just pushing to play bigger venues, play to bigger crowds. The music's kind of speaking for itself at the moment. We're getting fantastic reviews from Elements, so hopefully we can back it up with the second half, and then like I said, just go out and play to more people. I'd love to get across to Europe as well for a tour like that. That's obviously a bit more difficult nowadays.
Spain seems to be popular. Spain's popular. So.
Yeah, I mean, our second biggest audience after UK is America. So I mean, I'd love to get across to America, but again, it's really, really difficult to go and do that.
I hear this an awful lot, and from bands that are actually quite well known and established, and they just haven't toured the US yet, and they just say it's just so difficult to plan anything, and you can imagine how hard it is playing Europe and let alone going over to the US. But
like I say, we're in Edinburgh. We've only played London once, in the past 6 years. So it's difficult enough for us to get down that far. So, it'd be different if it was the 90s and a record label came along and gave us an advance and a deal, and
I'm not sure that happens much these days. I can't say I've heard of that happening recently, but you never know. I just want to touch on the your endorsements, and I'm not really sure how this works, whether they endorse you or you endorse them, or if it's a mutual love fest type of endorsement.
We endorse each other, mutual love fest.
That's
like
what
that.
I thought.
That's good.
So you've got Skull Strings and Balbex Drumsticks. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Balbex, I've not come across them before. And Royal 10 Clothing. So is this t-shirts or your merch?
It is. We're actually not doing the right thing here. We should be wearing them, but we're not.
You should be.
One of us should be wearing a Royal 10 Clothing t-shirt right now. So the Royal 10s, they're horror themed clothing, so they do t-shirts, hoodies. They're based down south somewhere, I think, Reading kind of area, I think.
Okay. Well, how did that come about, that endorsement?
It was towards the end of the first lockdown, and I was just hunting for endorsements. I spent a lot of lockdown working the business side of the band, so I was just looking at different things. We did have a string endorsement, but we weren't overly happy with it, and they were kind of coming to an end. So Dave's been with Balbex for years, but I was hunting for endorsements. So Skull Strings and Royal 10 came along at a very similar time. It was within the space of a couple of months of each other. So it all came about from me kind of pushing the business side of the band during the first lockdown.
And I'm glad to hear you do that, because a lot of bands don't really think too much about the business side, and you really have to, even if you have a manager. I think it's important to look at it from a business point of view and do as much as you can yourself. Lastly, why don't you tell us where we can find out about you on Tinternet?
Facebook /A Ritual Spirit, or all of the social media /A Ritual Spirit.
Do you have a website?
We've got a website that's aritualspirit.net, but to be honest, it's a little bit 90s at the moment, so we're going through a bit of an update on that one, so it will be getting better at some point soon.
Okay.
YouTube, obviously, Spotify, this is it. The album's dropping on Spotify and iTunes and everything. Friday the 13th of May.
That'll be a great day for you. So
it will. It sure will.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wish you all the very best with Elements 1 and Elements 2 and your tours and your festivals and everything you've got going on.
Thank you very much.
I hope the sun keeps shining in Scotland for you.
Oh, it never shines long up here.
It will.
There you go. You got your own light. Just so you don't have to rely on
it. Just follows me around.
That's what we all need. It's been lovely chatting to you. Say hello from me to the other two, Dave and Fuzz. And I hope to see you all live soon.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Bye.